The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was the most powerful room in the galaxy. From every corner of known space, leaders gathered here to discuss war, peace, and trade. The chamber was round, wide, and floating high above a giant star. It glowed, with golden light and soft hums from translator machines. Today, a special session had been called. Dozens of alien leaders were in their seats. Tall, short, slimy, scaled, glowing, breathing fire or mist. They whispered in strange languages, their eyes focused on one thing, the center of the room. A single platform lit by a quiet blue light. A voice echoed through the chamber. Representing the planet Earth, Lena. All eyes turned. A young, human woman walked forward. She wore a simple dark blue suit with Earth's symbol, a silver circle with a leaf on her chest. She had no weapons, no guards, no army, just herself. Some aliens laughed. Others leaned back, curious. One of them, a massive red being with 6 arms, hissed to another, "Where is Earth's army? Is this their joke?" Lena walked calmly onto the platform. She looked small compared to the giant creatures around her. Still, she stood straight. Her hands were at her sides. Her eyes didn't blink. "Members of the council," she began. "I come as Earth's voice." More laughter. A jelly-like creature whispered, "Voice?" Where is the power behind her words? But Lena continued, "We were invited, we accepted, and now we are here, not as followers, not as servants, but as equals." That made the room quiet. For a moment, a green alien, long and sharp like a walking needle, stood. "Earth is young. Your people have no empire. You have no fleets in this council. Why should we listen to you?" Lena looked up at the alien. Her voice didn't change. "Because your people watched our planet burn and said nothing. You sent probes to spy. You blocked our trade. You feared what we could become." The room buzzed. Whispers turned to mutters. The tall alien sat back down, slowly. Another alien, floating with no legs and dozens of eyes, asked, "What is it you want, human?" Lena stepped forward, her voice sharper now. "I want the truth spoken. I want the silence broken." The lights in the room dimmed. A hologram appeared. Earth's history. Images of humans fighting wars, building cities, exploring stars. Footage of Earth surviving attacks from space. Data showing Earth's sudden growth in power. She pointed to one of the images. An alien ship burning in Earth's orbit. "You called us a death world. You weren't wrong. But you thought that made us monsters." A cold hush fell across the chamber. "We were quiet," Lena said. "We watched, we learned, we waited. But Earth will wait no longer." An alien lord in golden armor growled, "Are you threatening the council?" "No," Lena replied. "I'm making a promise." That moment changed everything. The smallest person in the room was now the one holding all its attention. Even the ancient races who had ruled for millennia leaned in. Her presence, soft but sharp, cut through every false smile and hidden insult. She was not a soldier. She didn't carry a weapon. But every word she spoke was heavier than a fleet. Lena's voice, steady as stone, continued. "Earth came here in peace. But peace cannot grow where voices are silenced. We speak now. And we will not stop." The blue light around her glowed brighter. The council remained silent. The silence was no longer caused by arrogance. It was fear. The silence in the grand hall stretched long after Lena stopped speaking. Dozens of alien leaders sat motionless, eyes fixed on the lone human woman. Some watched with interest, others with growing concern. Then slowly, Lena lifted her hand. More holograms floated into the air. One by one, they showed the long, painful road of Earth's past. The first image showed burning cities, smoke rising into the sky, humans fighting each other, cries of war echoing across ruined lands. "This is how we began," Lena said. "We hurt ourselves more than any enemy ever did. We broke our own world, For centuries, we nearly destroyed everything. Some aliens looked amused. One even snorted. A species born in violence, nothing new. Lena turned to face him. Yes, but we learned. The image changed. Now it showed humans rebuilding. Hands reaching out, bridges rising, cities glowing with lights. Spaceships rising from launch pads, scientists working side by side. We built again, Lena said. We healed the planet. We reached for the stars. And each time we failed, we stood up again. Another image appeared, an alien ship crashing on Earth. Humans rushed to help the survivors, giving them food and care. That was your scout ship, she said, pointing. It came without warning, it crashed. We saved your people even before we knew your language. The alien leader from that species shifted in his seat, uneasy. Lena stepped forward. You studied us in secret. You saw what we were. But you never asked what we wanted. The next holograms showed attacks on Earth, secret sabotage missions, failed assassinations, disease outbreaks traced back to Council-controlled labs. Whispers spread again through the chamber. We have names, Lena said. We have recordings. We have the truth. A massive horned alien growled. Your kind was growing too fast. We feared you would become a threat. You feared change, Lena replied. You feared the idea of humans standing beside you, as equals. She paused, then added, You weren't wrong to be afraid. But you were wrong to act with silence and shadow. The room quieted again. It was no longer the silence of boredom or disrespect. It was tension, pressure. Lena moved to the center of the platform. I am not here to blame. I am here to speak. For too long, you decided Earth's future without us. You traded our name without asking us. You spoke of Earth like it was a child. She looked around the room. No one laughed now. We are no longer a child. We are not just from a death world. We are shaped by fire, but not ruled by it. An elder alien, whose species had been part of the Council for over 10,000 years, floated forward. What do you want, human? He asked. If not revenge, what is your goal? Lena answered without hesitation. Recognition, respect, and a place at the table we've already earned. The old alien studied her, then said, Words are not always enough. Lena nodded. That's why I brought more than words. She tapped her wrist. New holograms appeared. A map of the galaxy showed Earth's influence spreading, fast, efficient, and peaceful. Trade with smaller civilizations, shared science with struggling colonies, military defense given freely to abandoned outposts. We didn't wait for your approval. We didn't ask for permission. We helped those you forgot. Another alien hissed. That's interference. Lena replied. That's compassion. Silence again. But this time, some council members looked thoughtful. One or two even nodded slightly. Lena gave one final statement before ending her presentation. Earth's history is full of mistakes, but we don't hide from it. We grow from it. We are not perfect, but we are present. And that makes us stronger than any fleet or crown. With that, the holograms faded. Lena stood alone once more in the blue light. This time, no one laughed. The silence was no longer mocking. It was listening. The air inside the grand hall felt thick, the kind of silence that comes after a storm or just before one. Lena remained still, hands by her sides, eyes locked with every leader present. Then she spoke again, calmly. We came with open hands, but Earth knows what happens when open. Hands are slapped away. A few alien leaders shifted in their seats. Some glanced at one another, whispering with nervous gestures. Lena raised her hand again. A new hologram appeared. This time, it wasn't history. It was evidence. The holograms showed transmissions, secret orders, council leaders giving commands to interfere with Earth's progress. Spies, poison, computer viruses, clear voices, clear faces. Gasps filled the room. A tall insectoid leader shouted, "These are lies! Fakes!" Lena didn't argue. She calmly turned to the projection and zoomed. A signature appeared at the bottom of one of the orders. It belonged to the same alien who had just spoken. Council guards at the back of the hall whispered into their comms. Then came another transmission. This one showed a council member authorizing the disabling of an Earth colony's food supply. Children had nearly died. Earth never knew who was responsible, until now. Lena looked at them all. Her voice didn't shake. We are not here to make war, but we are not blind. You feared what Earth would become, so you tried to keep us small. Another alien, one who had remained silent until now, stood. We did not all agree to these actions. Lena nodded. We know. That's why I'm not speaking to the guilty alone. I'm speaking to the silent. That struck the room hard. Everyone knew what she meant. Some never gave the orders, but many looked away, said nothing, allowed Earth to be targeted because it was easier to stay quiet than to face change. The chamber grew cold. Lena's voice grew firmer. For too long we heard about how dangerous humans are, how we come from a death world, how we're emotional, unpredictable. She paused, letting the words sink in. Yes, we feel deeply. We fight for each other. We survive what others can't. But that is not a weakness. She raised her voice slightly now, not yelling, just strong. It's our strength, and it's the reason we're still standing even after all you've tried to do. More holograms appeared, this time from Earth's side, records of mercy. A human ship pulling wounded alien refugees from a battle zone. Earth doctors curing a virus that others let spread. Human engineers fixing systems on abandoned council planets. Even when we were hurt, we helped, Lena said, because we believe in something greater than fear. The council members sat quietly, their expressions unreadable. But their silence no longer looked smug. It looked shaken. Lena stepped off the platform for a moment and placed a small device in the center. It lit up with a white glow showing a message. Let the galaxy hear Earth's truth. Then a live feed began to broadcast from Earth. All across council space, on trade stations, transport ships, embassies, Lena's speech and the evidence were now public. The Galactic Council couldn't cover it up. They couldn't lie anymore. New voice broke the silence. It was one of the younger species representatives, a small bird-like creature who had rarely spoken. We believed what the council told us about Earth, the young leader said softly. Now, I don't know who to trust. Lena looked at the young speaker with calm eyes. Then trust the truth. Not because it's comfortable, but because it's right. The older leader stayed silent. Some stared at the floor. Some stared at Lena. But all of them felt the same thing for the first time in centuries. Accountability. Lena stepped back onto the center platform. She didn't yell. She didn't threaten. She just stood there, letting the weight of the truth hang in the air, and the silence that followed. It wasn't confusion. It was the sound of the old order cracking. The hall was no longer just quiet. It felt frozen. No whispers. No movement. Just the soft hum of the translator devices and the quiet glow from the hologram still floating in the air. Lena stood tall in the center, her eyes scanning the rows of alien leaders. We don't seek war, she said. Earth has seen enough of that. We don't want to destroy, conquer, or control. She walked slowly across the platform, her footsteps echoing in the silence. But we will no longer be ignored. We will not sit in the shadows while decisions are made about our future. Some of the younger species looked hopeful. A few even nodded. But the elder races, the old powers, still looked uncertain, maybe even angry. One of them finally stood. A scaled being with glowing red eyes and a long coiled tail. You say Earth wants peace, he said. But your speech feels like a challenge, like a warning. Lena stopped and faced him. It is both, she said. We offer peace, but we will not beg for it. More murmurs rose through the chamber. Lena raised her hand and the murmurs died. She pressed a button on her wrist device. A new image appeared in the air. Earth's latest fleet. Sleek ships, fast and strong. Not massive like the Council's ancient dreadnoughts, but newer, more advanced, more dangerous. A short video played of these ships saving a civilian colony from a pirate attack, not with brute force but with strategy, speed, and precision. Not one life was lost, not one ship damaged. "We don't build fleets to scare," Lena said. "We build them to protect, to show that Earth will stand for itself and for those who can't." Then the screen changed again. It showed Earth's message, now translated into dozens of galactic languages, already spreading across communication networks. Billions were watching, listening, sharing. "You have until the next rotation of your central star," Lena said. "One full cycle, then we walk away." A gasp rose. That wasn't a threat, it was a deadline. "We offer this," Lena continued, holding up a data crystal. "A proposal of peace, of shared knowledge, trade, security, equality. You may accept it, or ignore it. But understand this." She placed the crystal on the Council's central table, the first time in centuries a new species had done so. "Earth will not wait forever." The oldest member of the Council, a being with 6 eyes and a skin like stone, leaned forward. "And if we refuse?" Lena's voice dropped, quiet but sharp. "Then Earth will walk its own path. And those who once feared us will find themselves alone when fear becomes reality." Her words were not loud, but in that moment they were louder than any weapon. One of the mid-tier species, a 4-armed aquatic leader, floated up. "You speak like a warrior, but you are just one human. How can you speak for all of Earth?" Lena looked directly at her. "Because Earth chose me. Not for my strength, not for my rank, but for my voice." She paused, then added, "And because the day Earth needed someone to speak, I said yes." The aquatic leader nodded slowly. Silence followed again. But this silence felt different now. It wasn't fear. It was respect. Lena turned back toward the Council and gave one final offer. "You still have a choice. Accept Earth as an equal. Or continue to pretend we're not already here." She walked back to the platform's center. "We are not your enemies, but we will not be your servants." Then she pressed one final command on her wrist. The large display behind her showed Earth's position, no longer at the edge of the galaxy. Not small, not isolated, Earth was now surrounded by dozens of allied worlds, small species, forgotten races, refugee planets. Together, they lit up the galaxy like stars. "We are not alone anymore," Lena said, "and we are not afraid." With that, she turned off the holograms and stepped back. The message was sent. Now, the galaxy had to decide. The final moments of Lena's speech hung in the air like thunder that refused to fade. The council chamber was so still one could hear the low hum of the life support systems in the walls. No one spoke. No one moved. Until a thick, deep voice broke the stillness. "You bring us warnings, declarations, and fleets," said the horned leader from the Iron Clans. "So tell us this. Are we now at war with Earth?" Lena didn't hesitate. "No," she replied. "Not unless you make it so." She stepped back onto the center of the glowing platform. The blue lights dimmed to white. Every translator in the chamber adjusted. Every camera in the galaxy focused on her. Every world that was watching knew something big was about to happen. Lena took a breath. Then she declared, clearly and without fear, "Earth no longer recognizes the authority of this council. We will not bow. We will not ask. We will act. From this moment forward, Earth stands as an independent power, equal, sovereign, and unbroken." The words echoed like a hammer falling on stone. Gasps filled the room. Some stood in shock, others shouted. A few tried to argue, but the translator systems couldn't keep up with the overlapping chaos. Lena continued, her voice cutting through the noise. "We came with peace. You answered with silence, lies, and shadow games. We came with proof. You answered with denial. We came with truth. And now, we speak without your permission." She tapped her wrist. The chamber's ceiling opened into a transparent view of the stars. Dozens of Earth ships hovered in orbit above the Council's central world, silent, still, and waiting. They didn't fire. They didn't move, but they were there, fast, sharp, unfamiliar to many of the old species who had never seen Earth's newest tech. It was a message, and it was louder than any words. "Those ships," Lena said, "are not here to attack. They are here to protect our people, our diplomats, our allies. Any who wish to speak to Earth may now do so, freely." Some of the older races shouted in protest. One screamed, "This is a threat!" "No," Lena said firmly. "It's a promise." She looked at the oldest member of the council, the six-eyed one carved like stone. "We offered peace. You closed your ears. Now we will speak so clearly, no one can pretend they didn't hear us." The screen behind her changed again. It showed messages from dozens of smaller civilizations, each sending support for Earth. Not out of fear, but out of hope, out of gratitude. Earth had helped them when the council did not. Lena raised her hand one final time. "We are done waiting," she said. "From today, Earth writes its own chapter in the galaxy." Then she delivered the final line. "You demanded silence from Earth. Instead, we gave you a voice you cannot ignore." With that, Lena stepped away from the platform. She didn't look back. The council was no longer in control. Earth had declared itself, and the galaxy was listening. Far above the chamber, Earth's ships began to shift formation, still silent, but perfectly organized. They didn't threaten. They didn't speak. Their presence alone was enough. The media waves across thousands of systems exploded with news. Earth declares independence. Council silence broken. Human diplomat stuns the galaxy. On dozens of worlds, people watched Lena's speech. Some cried, some cheered, some felt fear, but none felt boredom, because for the first time in living memory, something had changed. Not with weapons, not with war, but with words, and a single voice that shook the stars. The moment Lena left the chamber, the silence shattered. The Galactic Council burst into chaos. Some leaders shouted at each other. Some demanded an emergency vote. Others stood frozen, unsure what to say, unsure what they had just witnessed. Lena walked calmly down the hallway, behind the chamber. Her face showed no emotion, but inside her heart was pounding. She had just declared Earth's independence from the most powerful alliance in the galaxy, and they had no idea how to respond. In the outer systems, reactions came quickly. On the planet Veras, once ignored by the Council, people gathered in the streets cheering. They had received medical help from Earth just last year when a Council relief ship failed to arrive. On the moon Ilo, workers paused their mining drills and replayed Lena's speech over and over. Earth had defended them from pirates without asking for anything in return. Now they knew why. Across hundreds of small and forgotten worlds, the message was clear. Earth speaks for those who were never heard. Back in the council chamber, the shouting reached a peak. "We must strike now." One leader screamed, "They're challenging our authority." "With what army?" Another replied. "Their fleet is already above us." "They haven't fired a single shot," a third pointed out. "Maybe we pushed too far." Some leaders wanted to send warships, others wanted to open negotiations. Many were too afraid to speak at all. Then the six-eyed elder, the council's oldest voice, finally rose and lifted one hand. Silence slowly returned. "She gave us a choice," the elder said, "and we ignored it. Now Earth has made their choice." Lena returned to Earth that same evening. Her ship landed in the capital's skyport, where thousands waited in silence. No one knew what to expect. As she stepped down the ramp, the crowd began to cheer. Loud, thunderous, echoing through the metal walls and glass towers, Earth had finally been heard, and Lena was its voice. In the following days, things moved fast. Earth's communications were flooded. Over 100 smaller civilizations sent messages of thanks, support, or interest in forming new ties. Even some of the Council's longtime members quietly reached out to Earth, offering private talks. But Earth didn't rush. They waited, watched, listened. The Council tried to regain control by making statements on public channels. They called Earth reckless and disruptive, but the people of the galaxy were no longer listening to the Council. They were watching the recordings of Lena's speech. Meanwhile, Earth's fleet moved with precision. They didn't attack. They didn't blockade. Instead, they guarded forgotten outposts, delivered aid to remote stations, restored power to colonies the Council had abandoned years ago. It was power, not through violence, but through action, and the galaxy noticed. In the Council's private halls, meetings turned bitter. Maybe we underestimated the humans, one ambassador admitted. They've only just begun, another said. And already they move faster than we ever did. The six-eyed elder looked out the window toward the stars. They do not just speak with words, he said. They speak with purpose. That is far more dangerous. Back on Earth, Lena sat alone for a moment in the top floor of the diplomatic hall. She looked out at the night sky, where Earth's ships shimmered like quiet guardians. She didn't smile. Not yet. The real work had just begun. She pressed a message, recorder, and spoke softly. Earth has found its voice. Now we must show that we are worthy of being heard. She leaned back, eyes still on the stars. The silence of the galaxy had been broken, but this new silence, calm, waiting, was filled with meaning, the kind of silence that came after the storm, the kind that comes right before a new world begins. Weeks passed since Lena's declaration. The galaxy had not exploded into war. There were no battles, no invasions, no fleets clashing in the void. But something had changed, deeply, quietly, and forever. The galaxy felt different. Earth was no longer just a world from a death zone. It was now a symbol of strength, of truth, of a voice that could not be silenced. The Council remained, but it no longer ruled the way it once had. Its words didn't carry the same weight. Its threats no longer echoed. Its silence no longer frightened anyone. Instead, eyes turned to Earth. A new alliance formed, not from conquest but connection. It started with small worlds, colonies on the edge of forgotten systems, species that had never been invited to the Council's table. They reached out to Earth, not for protection but for partnership. Earth welcomed them. Lena personally led many of those talks. She didn't sit above them. She sat with them, spoke in their languages, listened, because Earth's power didn't come from fleets. It came from understanding what it felt like to be ignored. On the station Oros Prime, a council historian gave a lecture. He showed the day Lena spoke and called it the break of silence. Some feared Earth because of where they came from, he said. But they should have feared what Earth had learned from being quiet for so long. In the sky over Earth, the fleet remained, not as a threat but as a sign. They moved through the stars delivering food, water, medicine, and safety. They didn't take, they gave. And others began to copy their way. Efficient, clean, direct. Even planets that once sided against Earth started asking questions. If humans can do this in just a few decades, one alien leader said, what else might we be able to do if we stop fearing change? Inside Earth's diplomatic hall, Lena stood before a new banner. It was not the flag of a nation. It was the mark of Earth's promise. A silver circle, wrapped in a starfield, with one single glowing line reaching upward. It meant unity, voice, presence. Reminder that even the smallest voice could echo through the stars if it spoke with truth. One morning, Lena received a private message from the Council's oldest member, the six-eyed one carved like stone. It read, "We once ruled through silence. You taught us the power of being heard. The galaxy will not forget." She read the words once, then deleted them. Lena didn't need their thanks. Earth didn't speak to be praised. Earth spoke because it had waited long enough. In the years that followed, more changes came. The Council no longer made decisions alone. Earth was added to the Galactic Charter as a sovereign power. Lena's speech was recorded as one of the most watched events in galactic history. Young leaders from across the stars traveled to Earth to learn diplomacy, not from books, but from walking Earth's rebuilt cities, meeting its people and hearing their stories. And Lena, she never took a title, no crown, no medals. She simply continued to speak when needed and listened when it mattered more. She knew power was not in volume, but in meaning, and the galaxy listened now, because Earth had spoken with clarity, and with that clarity the galaxy had changed. So when people looked to the stars, they no longer saw just council systems and forgotten borders. They saw a future where one voice could change everything, a future where silence was no longer control, but a space waiting to be filled with something better. And when they whispered the moment everything changed, they remembered just one thing. She spoke for Earth, and the galaxy listened.